Welcome back on the AM show. Time now for us to dig into the papers. Thank you for choosing us. And I'm here, of course, with Samuel Kojo Brace. Sam, good morning.
Good morning, Ben. Yeah.
How are you this morning?
I'm well. Once you have life, that's all that you need to make the change. So yeah, we thank God for His mercies.
It's like the Dum Spiro Spero principle.
Hey.
Once you live or once you breathe, you must hope.
Exactly. Yesterday, and look, Ben, I think that when you get up in the morning and something tells you to put something on your status to motivate someone, do not hesitate.
Yeah.
See, I put something on my status, not knowing a friend of mine, like a junior at school, was going through hell. And he called me and was thanking me for that message, and I felt, oh, really? I was just putting this up. I thought...
Yeah, unwittingly, yet...
And I said, wow, the guy was going through a lot. So sometimes if you feel like calling someone just to check up on him and to give him some sort of inspiration, do it. Don't hesitate at all, because you might not know why that small voice of yours is telling you to do what he or she wants you to. So just do it. You might not know who would need that very message of yours.
Just do it, and I'm going to be doing it with my blunt thoughts.
Exactly.
The title is Past, Present, and Future, Taking Stock of Our Motherland.
I'm looking forward to it.
Past, Present, and Future, Taking Stock of Our Motherland, Ghana. But I just want to walk you through this. Part of what I'm going to be sharing this morning, actually. Are you aware the price of cement, which used to be somewhat 28 cedis in 2016, has now shot up to, guess how much?
I'm told it's 67.
73 Ghana cedis. So in 2006, with 28 cedis, you could basically purchase 3 bags of cement with 100 cedis, with some left over. Now, with 73 cedis,
you buy just one.
You buy just one bag.
Yeah.
And it goes on, it talks, you can talk about the trips of sand, 20 cubic meters, and what it was going for about 800 cedis just a few months ago, actually. Now going for 1,500. Even now, the 20 cubic meters, they are not giving you that. They're giving you about 17.5.
Oh, you're building now.
Iron rods.
You're building now.
I'm not building, but
especially what you're telling me makes me...
No. Because the likes of, we've had the likes of Samuel Megaibo come here. I have my friend Elisha Benning, who also gives me a lot of on-the-ground information. And trust me, it's not easy. We have to be careful lest a lot of the structures we are putting up now might not meet the standards when it comes to building. And we may pay, a hefty price for that. And I'm not surprised. While I am against the National Cathedral project, at least if it must go on and be completed so our funds don't go down the drain, maybe it should. But I am not surprised even that has stalled. Because when you look at the cost factor and you look at the changes, and a lot of these foreign companies that come into the country doing these, they sign contracts with us, indemnity clauses and all of that free them, and they are quoting everything in dollars. So you're going to be bleeding heavily when your CD is,
not stable,
pendulating like it is now against the foreign currencies. But
interesting.
We'll see what time.
Yesterday, I had a sit down with the board chair for the Ghana Integrated Iron and Steel Development Corporation, GISDEC, Alhaji Farouk Aliyu Mahama, and he was talking about the plans to develop the iron industry of this country so that we could stabilize the currency. For example, if they are able to do it, it means that we'll no longer have to use dollars to import iron rods and steel product. Everything will be done in this country. So these things sort of motivate me, but I pray that we're able to fast track things. Yesterday, he made mention of the fact that they've given some 10 companies, I think that they've been able to lobby them in such a way that they are using their own funds to do exploration, to determine the quantities of iron ore we have, so that then we can determine which company would then be allowed to explore what at the end of the day, and so that we can also begin that steel industry that we want to bring up. Maybe that can help us stabilize our city. That can also help us, end the importation of steel and iron rods, which would obviously lead to probably the reduction of prices, of these rods. So I pray that these things really do come to pass early, so that we can help reduce the cost of building and also reduce how much dollars we used to import things.
And another danger in there is, even as you speak of iron rods and the rest, you know, the iron ore that they use, you know, there are different millimeters and strengths when it comes to the iron rods, depending on what you want to use.
Exactly, yes.
The foreign entities, I'll not mention names, because of standards going for a certain quality, some of them imported. Our people, because, well, things are so expensive, some of them are even mixing the, you know, the scrap metal and all of that with, yes.
The scrap metal?
Scrap metal, like...
my understanding is that the scrap metal, the steel industry, they melt them and use them to produce the iron.
The point is that they are mixing more quantities of those compared to the iron ore, the raw iron ore.
Okay.
So that you have a more solid iron rod. These are the things, the other components, yes. But just as with gold, for example, you know that the carat depends on what other mixes are in there. If it's a 25% mix, if you want whole gold, 24 carats. 18 carats, they'll mix about 25% of other elements, and then you have 75% gold. You can come as low as 10 carats or even whatever it is that you want. It's the same thing in that industry as well. What it means is that how brittle the iron rods will be watered down, and it means that whatever you're putting up someday, you may think that, oh, the lifespan of this, you know, house should be about maybe 100 years or 70 years or 80 years. And then in some 5-10 years, you're already beginning to see. And there are people with new constructions facing some of these problems.
But that's the work of the Standards Authority. Because there are standards, I know, even in the construction industry, there are standards that the authority has developed. So how are they ensuring that those standards are being adhered to? You know, these are things that probably the standards
even dangerous. Let's say you're an engineer. You're doing the right thing. You're procuring what you think is the right thing. But in there, it's of a lesser grade. You are unaware. Your license could even be taken from you.
That's why I'm saying that the Standards Authority should ensure that the steel industry is producing iron rods to the standards that they've established. You know, because if they don't do that and they are producing substandard materials for us, we are going to buy them thinking that we are buying the best. And then it will lead us tomorrow, our buildings collapsing and we having the challenges of having to deal with compensations and all of that. Then it's of course...
And even then, as it is now, the iron rods that were being sold for 6,000 cedis a ton are going for over 8,000 cedis today.
Exactly, yes. Yeah. I remember when it kept rising. It rose from some 3,000 to 5,000 in 2021. There were a lot of challenges. And then now it's 8,000, Charlie.
Yes, more.
So those of us who have not started, maybe we have to...
Will you put it on hold? Let me see. We have the Ghanaian Publisher, Daily Dispatch, Republic Press, The Finder. That is what I have. What do you have? Let's start.
I have the Daily Guide, I have the Daily Statesman, and the Custodian.
All right.
Okay, so let's start with the Daily Guide newspaper. It says, Agenda 111, vaccine production, my key agenda. That's according to President Akufo-Addo. Janapot tout Ghana's green metals. NDC boils over Hoto project. Hey, 2 bank robbers nabbed. Health Minister discharged in Atufo trial. Let me talk about the Janapot outing Ghana's green metals. It says, Minister for Land and Natural Resources Samuel Abu Janapot has started the country's green metals, calling on investors to partner the government for a sustainable and mutually beneficial exploration. Speaking at the 20th edition of the African Down Under Conference held in Perth, Western Australia, Mr. Janapot said the country is ready to diversify its mineral resources base. He indicated that the green transition, which requires green metals to produce batteries to replace fossil fuel dependent vehicles, makes the diversification even more imminent. Okay, so that's our minister speaking in Australia there. Let's see how this one progresses. But this particular conference, we have our editor, Evans Mensah, also there, making sure that Joy News is on top of issues when it comes to, you know, the natural resources.
We are ably represented.
Exactly. By none other than Evans Mensah. Anyway, the opposition...
Our partner in head size.
Well, I didn't say anything there.
Usru.
You said.
I tease him all the time. That our heads are, you know. But you see, having a big head is a good thing. It means your medulla areas here.
It's big.
You're almost there. Almost
no.
there.
My head is small. Anyway, now the opposition National Democratic Congress, NDC, is in the spin over attempt by former Minister of Finance, Dr. Kwabena Duffuor, to make the party's flag bearership race a dead heat for ex-President John Dramani Mahama, with his program dubbed a Hoto Project for Grassroots. Even though Mr. Mahama enjoys the support of the current national executive of the party and has a better footing in the crucial race, Dr. Duffuor seems well poised to dislodge him from the seat by casting himself as a champion of the poor in the NDC. And yes, within this week, I think there was a donation. Or no, some people were going to call on Dr. Duffuor, and it came out that you know, the NDC hierarchy were not really pleased with how he is going about the Ahoto project. Remember, we covered that extensively. Spoke to the project manager on the pulse, who made a lot of, you know, revelations that they are not perturbed about what's happening, that they will ensure that they implement their project. So, very, very interesting development in the NDC with regards to that particular project, Ben.
Let's get into some other stories now. And Ghanaian publisher probe Cassius's allegations, or Cassius allegations. Lands Minister charges Minerals Commission. And the story says, Minister for Lands and Natural Resources Samuel Abu-Jenapo has instructed the Inspectorate Division of the Minerals Commission to undertake a full-scale investigation into allegations by Cassius Mining against Chinese mining company Shangxi Mining. Now, he said, though Shangxi Mining had denied all the allegations leveled against it, he still believes a thorough investigation into the claim will bring an end to the issue, as well as enhance harmony within the mining sector. The minister, however, said he found it perplexing why Cassius Mining was threatening legal action against the government of Ghana in a matter which the company itself says is a case of trespassing by another company. Cassius Mining Limited is threatening to sue Ghana for $395 million at the London Court of International Arbitration over what it says was the country's role in helping another mining company steal $142 million worth of gold from its concession. And so that is the sticking point, the bone of contention between these parties. Interesting, because we've had a number of these issues come through, not just in the mining sector, you know, judgment debts and all of that. Recently, my own alma mater, the University of Ghana, escaped one. And here we are with another situation on our hands. But this is also a pointer to some gray areas, problematic areas, whether in our mining laws or in the implementation of our mining laws from time to time.
I think it has to do with implementation.
Yeah.
Because the laws are beautifully written.
Oh, no law is perfect. That is why sometimes I say, but we have the laws. So it's either the law or the implementation of it, or maybe corruption somewhere.
No, what I was even going to point out is the fact that when you read a law on the face value, it tells of how our sector could be if we were to enforce the laws well. But this is a country where, you know, there are a lot of undercuttings here and there. So somebody would exploit those avenues, and then we are left hanging. In fact, if the mining laws are being implemented, you know, the way they have to, we would have a very nice functioning mining industry. But here we are, we do hear of a lot of these companies doing a lot of things that are not supposed to be done. You know how the Apiati thing came about.
Yeah.
What are we doing now to ensure that the Apiati incident does not happen again? Have we gone back to sleep, or we are doing the things we started to do immediately after the Apiati happened? You remember they said police people have to, you know, how do we say this? Accompany those vehicles that are exporting.
Where the right thing's done.
Exporting explosives. We have to get a safety person. We have to get a fire service personnel on board. Are we ensuring that we are doing them, or we have all left the things and gone to sleep because nothing like that has happened?
Yeah.
So we have to. There has to be a body. The Minerals Commission would have to ensure that these things are not happening, that people are not sleeping on their jobs because nothing bad has happened, that we're waiting for another Apiati before we go back and say, oh, this should have happened, but it is not happening. Then we go and search at the company. Even that, we don't know whether, you know, the monies have been paid entirely or what. And people even question that, is that punitive enough to ensure that it doesn't happen again? So really, the mining industry is an industry that the laws in there would have to be implemented well, but sometimes we sleep too much on our jobs.
Two quick stories. So, Akakpo suggests review of free SHS. You know, in recent times, he's been talking about the conversation that has, come up when it comes to reviewing free SHS. And he has said that, well, we could set up, some groups to actually go into it, find out what the merits of the case are, and all of that. This is a bit of a departure from what we've always heard.
Mr. But I listened to him.
Say it.
I don't know whether if what he said indeed suggests that we should review it. He says
no. It is not that we are going to review it, but at least this seems to change the tone that he's always had.
Well,
we are not reviewing.
Now he says that.
Now he says, well,
we should have a national dialogue on this,
right?
To know the importance of education and to know its impact on our budget,
right?
Maybe he's not talking about a review. He's talking about how you and I could probably agree that this is the way we have to go. And to also admit that once we have agreed this is the way we have to go, this is the impact on our budget.
Right.
And therefore, we should be circumspect when we are talking about this because we have all agreed that this is the way to go. I've always been saying that if we as a country decide that we are going from point A to point B, and this is the direction we are going, it means that we have all agreed to it. And therefore, if we have not diverted and we are going straight, then you and I would probably have a way we can criticize the system.
That is exactly the point, because there are two angles to this conversation. One, you look at how much exactly is going into free SHS. Yes, it's quite a sum of money, but what, 1 point something billion, 2 billion here and there over the last few years. Exactly how much has gone into it compared to other sectors, compared to what we are losing, for example, to corruption. Are you getting the picture? So some would say free SHS isn't the problem. Others too will tell you that even there, we can still do more to wean government off some of the responsibilities and put those responsibilities back on parents. Like if you opt for a boarding facility for your child, know that you should be ready to pay for feeding. So other things will be done for you, but pay for your own feeding to take off the burden. I feel these things make sense. Look at how our buffer stock company has been struggling. Do you get it? So I think those are some of the angles. Who will say that education is not good?
So I'm told that over the past 5 years of its implementation, government has announced that it has allocated a total amount of 7.62 billion.
It's 7 plus billion, like I was intimating earlier.
That's interesting.
So you look at the number of years, and then you look at other sectors and how much we are losing in them. Look at our state-owned enterprises.
So maybe, in effect, the whole conversation about it will bring about a little tweak here and there, and that's a review.
Exactly.
Not a bad thing to do, but when that conversation will come up, let's see when it will.
Let me wrap with this. So 17 OMCs, oil marketing companies, evaded 249.8 million Ghana cedis in duties, taxes between 2022 and 2021, or 2021 and 2022. That's according to the Auditor General's latest report. But tied to that, there's this editorial on page 4 of the Ghanaian publisher that says, bite deep and stop nibbling. Nibbling is what mice will sometimes do. A little, or you get a little bread or cheese and you're just gnawing at it. And that is also tied to the work of the Auditor General. People are telling him, so you
should be surcharging. Surcharging people.
Oh, you are.
It's interesting. But how people are able to defraud this country to a certain amount.
It beats your mind, eh?
Yeah.
It shock you?
How much? 240 something billion cedis. Is that it? Or it's million?
In any country, this is million. In any country, because when we're looking at the public sector, it's 17.4 billion in terms of all the irregularities. But in any country, one of the most financially prudent institutions is the Ministry of Finance. At home, they are paying over 1.1 billion to three ghosts.
Yeah.
How much more?
Yesterday, I read on Twitter the response by the deputy, John Kuma, and that they have since retrieved those monies. And someone asked him a very intelligent question there.
Yes.
How were you able to continuously pay a ghost name 3 years' salaries continuously?
It's actually 2 years. So 2020 January to 2021 December.
But there, the question the person asked him was,
and of course, I'm sure it's continued.
Why did you continuously pay someone for those number of years until someone directed you to the fact that you're paying someone who's non-existent before you said, what is even the evidence that in fact you've gone for the money?
Yeah.
Because some of these things, you tell us you have gone for it, but we won't know Well, it is true or not. We don't know.
Look,
there has to be a way they will prove to us for us to see for real that in fact you have retrieved those monies. Because if the Ministry of Finance continued to pay a ghost name for, you say, 2 years before the Auditor General said, hey, you're paying someone who's non-existent, that is a huge problem. Huge problem.
Let's say, I mean, that was at the time of the report. It may have continued even till today. The point being that...
No, the Deputy Minister says they have retrieved it.
No, the point being that if this hadn't been detected, only God knows for how long these people would have continued getting salaries. But the other angles to explore, this was obviously wrong. The people got the sums of money. Like you said, how was the retrieval done? What is the proof that we've retrieved these sums of money? And again, like we've said, one of the reasons we're failing in our fight against corruption is, oh, you underpaid your tax, go and pay. What are the penalties? Like how sometimes the law will stipulate in taxation. What are the penalties? So you knew you were drawing this, and so who was receiving these sums of money? Where were these sums of money going? Who was actually getting them? Because look, the person could have used these sums of money as an investment, whichever network, whichever persons, and got interest. Over 1.1 million Ghana cedis is not a joke.
The most painful thing could be that he even used those monies to buy government treasuries. So government gave him money to loan back to government for him to get
extra. And you allow this to, and no heads roll. You see, that is the point. No heads roll. No one takes the hit for failing to do their work.
Watching the documentary, that investigation put together by Latif, I was shocked.
The La Bianca one.
What? I mean, not only that company, a lot of them, a lot of the importers.
No, that is what they do with the complicity of officials. And sometimes you watch and see how back then some officials of customs also said, look, our hands are sometimes tied because it is not our will to do these, but the political elements. And this person is related to this politician and this and that and this and that. So it's basically, someone has shared a story with me about how years back, one of the entities we are talking of basically got him sacked. He was just a few months to retirement. This person made them send him somewhere, not sacked, so to speak, but send him somewhere else and all of that, all because he had noticed that some of these things were going on and he wanted to point to them.
We don't love Ghana.
No, we don't.
We don't. Because the things we do in our businesses to make money. Really, it's... I don't know if I should describe it as devilish. But some
it's evil. It is evil.
Look at the monies that someone would underpay and save. Sometimes 248 million cedis. The monies that should have come to the state. Which, of course, you heard this week, the road from Takrade to Agonam Kwanta has been cut off because of its very poor nature. These monies could have helped us construct these roads or put them in shape in a way. A very important road like that, from Takrade to Agonam Kwanta, before you get to El Siejo, I mean, these heavy trucks have broken down there because of the poor nature of the road, and they cannot move any longer. These money, somebody is pocketing it into his or her pocket, alone, at the expense of all of us.
Yeah. You see, once you create the loopholes, people will exploit them.
Anyway, let me read a response from John.
Let's do that quickly. We have to wrap up with the next.
Exactly. It says, kindly note that the funds paid were recovered when the attention of the ministry was drawn to this anomaly. This is why I always insist that the Auditor's General report must also have update on recoveries being made. He again says, the 3 ghost names are personnel seconded from GRA, for whom there was some misunderstanding about which payroll they belonged to for the period of the secondment. The amount paid have been recovered from GRA as indicated, and the ministry will in due time share more details. That's what he's saying.
And to why I'm casting the kind of crano?
I know.
And I see kind of
away. So
and omo G is kind of away. Those who took the money, where them they? And will anyone bear responsibility for this? Look, I'll tell you, one of the reasons our country likely will not go anywhere, because no one takes the hit, no one accepts responsibility. We're always passing the buck. Oh, it wasn't me. But you are in office, you are in authority. All these people should be ashamed of themselves, but oh, my bad. Do they have any shame? The Daily Dispatch. Australian mining company to meet Abu Jinapo over threat to sue Ghana for $395 million. Manchia South constituents graduate after skills training. And no man can dim your light. Anglican Bishop to Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia. There's also minority mounts pressure on health minister to answer for stalled 68 million euro La General Hospital project. And group rallies support for Ken Ejapong in 2024. All these stories in there. Let me just do this one. Our very own Eric Mensah Ayete has this story on page 5. Schizophrenia, an underlying cause of needless conflict in society. He's with our online department. Congrats to him.
Yeah.
Awesome piece of writing.
Well, Delhi statesman, lands minister who's mining investors. Like I told you yesterday, the board chair of the GISDEC said they are getting some investors. You know, I'm told that they're going to start mining of there's a place in Western region where there's an iron ore deposit. They're going to start mining by close of this year or the first quarter of next year. So it means that something good is happening, but we pray that things will inure to the benefit of Ghana and not to the benefit of the investors. So that's it. Prioritize basic education. Nooks urges government. That's where the president spoke about how we should have a consultative meeting on free SHS. MPP members urged to sacrifice personal interest. 15 SMEs to grab 25,000 euros grant each. And Water Commission cautions on Bagre Dam spillage. So these are the stories from the Delhi Statesman.
Let's take a quick look at Republic Press. GBC investigates $600,000 judgment debt paid to Media General. Utility tariffs increment takes effect. I put my life on the line for Akufo-Addo to become president, and he betrayed me, Owusu Bempah says. So, before calls...
The prophet?
Yes.
Okay.
Says he puts his life on the line.
Okay.
Before calls Mosquitoes bluff sets stage for showdown in NDC, and the former finance minister has stated that no amount of attacks or insults will distract him from continuing with the Ahoto project for the NDC's grassroots. 380,000 Ghanaians are poor. You can get details of that on page 3. And Franklin Kujo mocks Akufo-Addo. So you recall Akufo-Addo said to the Yagbonra in Yendi, but Yagbonra, you are lucky you have me as the president of Ghana. I'm going to do it for you. In the same way, no secondary school, no senior technical school in the whole of Kusogo area. Hey, he wondered. And he goes on and on. But Franklin Kujo has taken a swipe at Mr. President. He says, we should be lucky he is the first to have a proper family and friends government instituted. We should be lucky he was the first president to start having his bath in the sky in the most expensive, ultra-luxurious, rented, top-notch private jets. We should be lucky he is the president who has superintended over the most corrupt government. It goes on and on. He also says we should be lucky he has run the largest government ever in Africa. There are, about 20 points. I cannot possibly look at all of them, but that's it for Republic Press.
Oh, the custodian says Haruna tightens grip on Northern Region NDC. It comes with a picture of the minority leader Haruna Idrisu. Akufo-Addo tours Central Region today. So it means that today Akufo-Addo will be in the Central Region. NHIA partners for Premier League clubs. As for this partnership, and we know how service providers of NHIA have been complaining about payment. So question is, where are they getting the monies to sponsor these clubs? And it won't be small monies there. So they should offer us proper explanation on this one. When service providers are complaining of not being paid, we've had money to go and partner Premier League clubs. I understand the bit about marketing or what have you, but really, should that be a priority? Land Minister promotes Ghana's mining sector abroad. Ghana Health Service target 400,000 polio jabs in Northern Region. Ben, those are the stories from the front page of the Custodian. Yeah.
The Finder is my final newspaper. It says, Jinapo assures investors of greater transparency in mining sector. There's also Zipline contracted to deliver items in West Africa. And then salary arrears of Farm D, that is Doctor of Pharmacy House officers, to be paid. That's according to Mr. President. And 14 million do not have health insurance. Food insecurity declines by 7%. Unemployment up by 0.5%. That's according to the Ghana Statistical Service. Let's take a quick look at those stories on pages 2 and 9. And about 14 million of the population do not have health insurance coverage. Deprivation in health insurance coverage is the largest contributor to multidimensional poverty in the first 6 months of 2022. This is according to data from the Ghana Statistical Service. Now, per the report, 34.6% of the population have health insurance in the first quarter of this year. However, this number declined slightly in the second to 34%. On food security, the findings revealed that 49.1% of the population, representing 15.1 million people, experienced food insecurity in the first quarter of 2022. That is about half of our population, 49.1%. Let's also look at the story on page 9 very quickly. So President Akakpo has assured the Pharmaceutical Society of Ghana that the 8-month salary arrears of the 203 Doctor of Pharmacy house officers will be paid soon. Quote, I have instructed the Minister of Finance and Minister of Health to work together to urgently pay these young men and women. I assure you that it is being addressed. That's what Mr. President says. Of course, they were up in arms in recent times, complaining bitterly about their situation. It's a wrap for me. Do you have any final stories?
No. That's a wrap for me as well, Ben. But there's this chief in Isiama. He says, I should greet you for him. That he's watching you. Yeah.
Is he in, you say Isiama?
Yeah, Isiama.
Oh, why was I thinking Enchi?
Nana Kwejan III, the chief of Isiama. Yeah, he says he's celebrating his kundum, so if you can pass by one of these.
Who's that? Nana.
Kundum. We have a dance called Ebisa.
Ebisa?
Yeah, and watch how Ebisa is done. You'd love it.
Do you know how to do it?
Oh, yes. But I mean, I could have gone back and do the steps, how we do ours, but I'll just chalk it.
Can you just sit down and just do a few moves?
Oh, I mean, besides, we do more of that.
So stand, feel free.
No, we do the things with our feet, So you would have to capture my feet. But on TV like this, you might see a lot of them. But how we do, I mean, it has to do, it's a footwork.
The footwork,
Yeah, next time I'll give you a footwork.
The director was whispering in my ear, Charlie, make you do that thing.
Make you do that thing. But the thing is that I'll need a footwork, like.
But we can tell from.
And you have to play kundumio, and I can do the
rapid music,
kundumio.
You did for. Anyway. So this is it. We can't be serious. We must have fun. But you look like you'd be good at that dance. You look like
when I get down there.
Yeah.
When
you display.
When the kundum is it's kind of it attracts you. It
I know.
Brings you in
music. It puts you in a certain.
Yeah. Then you can do a lot of things. Sometimes we do it barefooted.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, it jumps. I mean. You're making me feel like going home right now to participate in Kundum.
The Kojo. Samuel Kojo Brace joined me for the news review. Don't you forget, right after sports, we bring you past, present, and future, taking stock of our motherland Ghana with my blunt thoughts for you this morning. Sports.